After wreaking devastation through the Caribbean and forcing one of the largest evacuations in American history, Hurricane Irma ripped away from the Florida Keys on Sunday afternoon and made a second landfall in southwest Florida, where residents were bracing after days of frantic preparation. The storm, which was downgraded onto a Category 2 hurricane, crawled up the western coastline with maximum sustained winds of 110 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. "The biggest thing you can do now is pray," Governor Rick Scott said earlier on Sunday afternoon. The storm thrashed the Florida Keys earlier in the day, when a television news broadcast showed entire homes, and a person standing on a balcony, nearly submerged. Already crippling more than 2.3 million customers across the state, power failures sprawled by the hour. There was no television to keep many residents updated, with only the remaining battery on their cell phones keeping them in touch with the world. Irma's full might was expected to be felt in major cities, including St. Petersburg and Tampa, on Sunday night, according to Andrew McCaughan, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face," Mayor Bob Buckhorn of Tampa said at a news conference earlier in the day, paraphrasing Mike Tyson. "Well, we're about to get punched in the face? Here's the latest." Irma is bearing down on Naples, Florida, bringing with it high winds and rain and a storm surge of 9 to 15 feet above ground level Sunday night, Stephen Shibili, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Ruskin, Florida, said in an interview. "In my meteorological career, this is the most powerful storm I've seen." Florida officials have ordered more than 6.5 million residents to leave their homes. Several counties, including Miami-Dade, Collier, and Lee, enacted curfews until Monday morning. Collier County also issued a boil water warning until officials could assess damages to the water system. About 540,000 people were told to leave the Georgia coast, and Governor Nathan Deal declared a state of emergency for all counties. Alabama, North Carolina and South Carolina have declared states of emergency. Here are our maps tracking the storm and the latest photographs. At least 25 people have been confirmed dead in parts of the Caribbean affected by Irma. The hurricane made landfall in Cuba on Friday evening. Separately, Hurricane Jose continued to weaken, getting downgraded to a Category 3 storm, the center said. Sign up for the morning briefing for hurricane news and for a look at what you need to know to begin your day. After a day of anticipation, the pummeling of Florida's west coast began Sunday evening. In Fort Myers, the wind whipped the tops of palm trees and the rain came in waves, quickly inundating low-lying areas. When the rain and wind combined, gusts slammed water against windows. At one Fort Myers hotel, the water was being driven with such force that it blew into rooms around window frames and soaked carpets. The police in San Marco, where Irma made its second landfall, posted on Twitter that residents should evacuate to a second floor or higher. The department also posted photos showing downed trees and power lines, and advised people to stay away from windows. The Florida Keys, a 113-mile stretch of islands connected by 42 bridges, have been ordered closed for re-entry until further notice, officials announced Sunday. The authorities had yet to begin inspections of the dozens of bridges that connect the many islands that make up the Keys, said Cammie Clark, a county spokeswoman. The Florida Tourism Bureau posted a notice on its website urging tourists to postpone their trips. Ms. Clark said the authorities were still sheltered in place waiting for the storm to pass and yet not yet determined whether there was widespread flooding. One bit of damage was clear: the roof blew off the building in Key Largo that emergency operations officials were using after they fled their own facilities in Marathon. Officials encouraged residents to shelter in place, even though the storm's eye had passed. Richard Peter Matson, 81, an artist in Key West, decided to stay home even as Irma approached, putting aside warnings from friends who had urged him to flee. When the storm passed, I was upstairs, trying to take care of things that were breaking apart, Mr. Matson said in a phone interview. I had been all over the house, closing windows, stapling plastic over windows that were open. He described a brief inspection of his street. The streets were riddled with debris. Shutters. Windows. Branches. He saw a cable line down and recalled the voices of friends who warned he'd be electrocuted if he stayed behind. I'll have curly hair, then, he said. He hadn't spoken to anyone since the storm passed. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. Palm trees shook in South Miami as wind picked up drastically, with gusts